Have you ever stumbled across a dish so strange, so unexpected, that it makes you wonder how anyone ever thought to eat it? Across America's vast landscape, there exists a treasure trove of foods that time forgot, regional specialties that once graced family tables, local diners, and festive gatherings, yet have nearly vanished from our collective memory. These are the hidden flavors of a bygone era, recipes shaped by necessity, creativity, and the ingredients at hand. From the rocky shores of New England to the sun-soaked fields of the South, each region in America developed its own culinary quirks. Immigrants brought with them traditions from Europe, the Caribbean, and beyond, while Native American staples like corn, wild rice, and squash were adapted into new dishes that would define local tastes. Many of these foods were born out of practicality, using leftovers, stretching limited resources, or celebrating seasonal harvests, but they quickly became beloved staples of their communities. Some rose to fame, appearing in regional cookbooks and even fine dining menus, only to fade as modern tastes and mass-produced foods took over. These forgotten foods are more than just recipes, they are cultural time capsules. Each bite tells a story of ingenuity, family, and the rhythms of daily life in America's past. They remind us of a slower, simpler era when meals were a centerpiece of connection and every ingredient had a story. And yet, despite their history and charm, many of these dishes have slipped through the cracks of memory. Some were considered too humble for the modern palate. Others were overshadowed by new fads and fast food trends. What remains are tantalizing glimpses of a culinary America most of us will never taste again, until today. So, sit back and join us as we journey across the United States to rediscover 15 forgotten regional foods you won't believe existed, each one with its own unique story, flavor, and piece of history. From sweet pies to savory stews, these dishes reveal the surprising, inventive, and sometimes downright bizarre ways Americans once fed themselves, and maybe even inspire you to try one yourself. 1. Raisin pie, New England. Imagine a dessert that's both sweet and slightly tangy, packed with the rich, chewy flavor of raisins, and drizzled with molasses, a treat that once held a place on nearly every New England table, yet today is nearly forgotten. This is raisin pie, a humble dessert with a surprisingly storied past. Raisin pie dates back to the early 19th century, when New England families relied on what they had on hand. Fresh fruit was often seasonal and scarce, but dried fruits, like raisins, were easy to store and transport. Combined with sugar, butter, and a splash of molasses or lemon juice, these simple ingredients transformed into a pie that was both accessible and indulgent. It was a dessert that could stretch a small budget, yet still impress guests during holidays and family gatherings. Colonial cookbooks of the 1800s often featured recipes for raisin-based desserts, indicating just how common and cherished they once were. Raisin pie wasn't just food, it was a comfort, a symbol of home and hearth. Families gathered around the table to share it during winter holidays, church socials, and town picnics. Its popularity persisted because it balanced practicality with sweetness. It required no exotic ingredients, yet delighted the senses. In a time before supermarkets and year-round fresh produce, raisin pie represented ingenuity, warmth, and the simple joys of homemade baking. And yet, despite its rich history, raisin pie has nearly vanished from modern kitchens. Today, even many New Englanders would struggle to name a bakery that still sells it. What was once a beloved staple of everyday life is now a relic, a sweet memory fading from collective taste. Imagine biting into that chewy, molasses-infused filling today, tasting a piece of history that survived centuries but nearly disappeared overnight. From the cozy kitchens of New England, we travel south, where bold, tangy flavors and vibrant colors define a very different culinary legacy, one that begins with a humble yet unforgettable southern creation, Chow Chow pickle. 2. Chow Chow pickle, Southern U.S. Picture a jar filled with a rainbow of crunchy vegetables, cabbage, green tomatoes, peppers, and onions, so tangy and spicy that a single spoonful could awaken your taste buds. This is chow chow pickle, a southern staple that once graced nearly every family table, yet today many have never even heard of it. Chow chow traces its roots to the 19th century, particularly in the southern states like South Carolina, Georgia, and Tennessee. Influenced by both Southern and European preservation traditions, it was born from necessity. Families needed a way to make their harvest last through long winters. Farmers would chop and mix whatever vegetables were abundant, then pickle them in a vinegar-based brine. Some recipes added mustard seed, horseradish, or sugar, giving each family's version its own signature taste. Over time, chow chow became more than a method of preservation. It became a celebrated side dish, featured in county fairs, church dinners, and holiday feasts. Chow chow wasn't just a condiment, it was a versatile culinary companion. Spoon it over fried fish, stir it into beans, or serve it alongside ham, and it elevated the simplest meal into something vibrant and flavorful. Its popularity endured because it was inexpensive, practical, and bursting with flavor, a perfect reflection of Southern ingenuity and hospitality. Yet despite its rich history and regional fame, chow chow has largely disappeared from modern kitchens outside the South. Many younger generations have never tasted its bright, tangy crunch, and jars of homemade chow chow are becoming increasingly rare. It's a dish that once brought communities together, now quietly preserved in old family recipes and fading cookbooks, a crunchy reminder of the South's inventive and enduring culinary spirit. From the tangy jars of Southern kitchens, we head to the coastal village of Frogmore, South Carolina, where a communal feast of shrimp, sausage, and corn once brought neighbors together around a steaming pot. This is the story of Frogmore stew. 3. Frogmore stew, Lowcountry, South Carolina. Imagine gathering around a massive steaming pot, the salty aroma of shrimp mingling with smoky sausage, tender potatoes, and sweet corn on the cob. This wasn't just a meal, it was a celebration of community. Welcome to Frogmore stew, a Lowcountry tradition that embodies the heart of Southern coastal life. Frogmore stew, also known as a Lowcountry boil, originated in the small village of Frogmore on St. Helena Island, South Carolina, in the early 20th century. The dish was born out of practicality and celebration. Fishermen and farmers would throw together whatever seafood and produce were fresh and abundant, boiling it all in a single pot. Shrimp, crab, corn, new potatoes, and smoked sausage created a simple yet satisfying communal meal. Over time, Frogmore stew became a social ritual, served at family reunions, community picnics, and holiday gatherings along the Carolina coast. The magic of Frogmore stew wasn't just in the ingredients, it was in the experience. Everyone gathered around large tables or even picnic blankets, peeling shrimp, buttering corn, and sharing stories as they ate. It represented community, tradition, and the bounty of the coast. Its popularity soared because it was affordable, versatile, and fun, a dish that fed both body and soul. Yet, despite its joyful history, Frogmore stew remains largely unknown outside the Lowcountry. Many Americans today have never tasted this iconic communal feast, missing out on a dish that is as much about connection as it is about flavor. Imagine missing out on a meal where everyone's hands are messy, the air is filled with laughter, and the simple combination of seafood, sausage, and corn tells centuries of coastal life. It's a culinary story fading from memory. From the steaming pots of the South, we move north to the elegant dining rooms of the Northeast, where a creamy lobster dish once captivated the taste buds of America's elite. This is the tale of Lobster Newburgh. For Lobster Newburgh, Northeast Coast. Imagine a dish so rich and decadent that it once graced the tables of America's finest restaurants, yet today, it has nearly vanished from menus. This is Lobster Newburgh, a creamy, luxurious seafood creation that tells a story of ambition, scandal, and lost culinary fame. Lobster Newburgh was invented in the 1870s by a sea captain-turned-chef named Ben Wenberg in New York City. Combining fresh lobster, butter, cream, eggs, and a dash of sherry, the dish was an instant hit among the city's elite. It was first served at Delmonico's, one of the nation's most prestigious restaurants, and quickly became a symbol of fine dining and opulence in Gilded Age America. Interestingly, after a falling out between the chef and the restaurant, the dish was removed from the menu, only to be slightly renamed Lobster à la Newburgh to keep it alive in culinary memory. Lobster Newburgh captured the imagination of diners because it transformed humble seafood into a symbol of sophistication. Its velvety, buttery sauce and tender chunks of lobster made it a showstopper at dinner parties, marking celebrations and special occasions. At a time when lobster was transitioning from a peasant food to a luxury item, this dish perfectly reflected the evolving tastes of America's wealthy and adventurous eaters. Yet, despite its fame in the 19th century, lobster Newburgh has largely disappeared from modern dining. Today, many Americans have never tasted this iconic creation, and most of the stories behind it are lost to history. It's a reminder of how fleeting culinary fame can be. What once represented elegance and innovation can quietly vanish from our collective memory, leaving only the recipes tucked away in old cookbooks. From the gilded dining rooms of the Northeast, we travel inland to Pennsylvania Dutch country, where humble breakfasts were elevated by a simple, pan-fried mixture of pork scraps and cornmeal known as scrapple. 5. Scrapple, Pennsylvania Dutch country. Picture a breakfast dish made from leftover pork, seasoned with herbs and spices, shaped into a loaf, sliced, and pan-fried until golden brown. It's humble, hearty, and distinctly regional. This is scrapple, a culinary relic of Pennsylvania Dutch kitchens that most Americans have never tried. Scrapple has its roots in the 17th and 18th centuries, brought to Pennsylvania by German immigrants known as the Pennsylvania Dutch. In an era when nothing went to waste, farmers developed this ingenious way to use pork scraps, mixing them with cornmeal and spices to create a loaf that could be sliced and cooked for breakfast. It was affordable, practical, and filling, a staple for families who relied on simple, sustainable ingredients. Over time, scrapple became a symbol of the Pennsylvania Dutch culinary tradition, celebrated in cookbooks and at local fairs. Scrapple's popularity endured because it was both economical and satisfying. It was the perfect way to start a long day of farming or labor, paired with eggs, pancakes, or a bit of syrup. Beyond practicality, it carried cultural significance. Each family had its own recipe, often guarded and passed down through generations, making it a marker of identity and heritage. Despite its rich history and nostalgic charm, scrapple remains largely unknown outside its region. To many, the idea of eating a loaf of leftover pork sounds unusual or even unappetizing. But for those who grew up with it, its comfort on a plate, a reminder of home, community, and resourcefulness. In a way, scrapple is more than food. It's a taste of a bygone way of life slowly fading from memory. From the hearty breakfasts of Pennsylvania, we journey south to Tennessee and Ohio, where mid-century lunchboxes and diners were never complete without a creamy, spreadable delight known as chipped chopped ham. 6. Chipped chopped ham, Tennessee and Southern Ohio. Imagine opening a lunchbox in the 1950s or 60s to find a soft, pink, savory spread piled on white bread, creamy, salty, and utterly irresistible. This was chipped chopped ham, a deli-style delicacy that once defined school lunches and diner counters across Tennessee and Southern Ohio. Chipped chopped ham was born in the early 20th century, created by local meat processors who wanted a way to make pork more versatile and long-lasting. By finely chopping smoked ham into a spreadable form, they transformed ordinary lunch meat into something that could be served cold on sandwiches or even heated in casseroles. Small-town grocery stores and diners quickly embraced it, and by the mid-20th century, it had become a beloved regional staple. Families stocked it in their pantries, and it appeared in countless home recipes, from ham sandwiches to hot dips at holiday gatherings. Its appeal was simple. Chipped chopped ham was convenient, flavorful, and affordable. For busy families, it was a reliable protein source, and for diners, it was an easy menu item that delighted customers. Beyond practicality, it carried nostalgia. Generations grew up associating the soft, salty spread with comfort, community, and the simple joys of a homemade sandwich. Today, outside of its regional strongholds, chipped chopped ham is largely forgotten. Supermarket shelves nationwide rarely carry it, and younger generations may never encounter its creamy texture or smoky flavor. Yet for those who remember it, a slice evokes memories of school lunches, diner breakfasts, and the comforting rhythms of everyday life in mid-century America. A taste of nostalgia that's slowly fading from public memory. From the lunchboxes and diners of the South, we head back to colonial-inspired kitchens of the Northeast, where a humble cornmeal flatbread called johnnycake once fueled the morning routines of early Americans. 7. Johnnycake, New England and Mid-Atlantic. Imagine a flat, golden bread made from cornmeal, water, and a pinch of salt, sizzling on a cast-iron griddle in a colonial kitchen. This was johnnycake, a simple yet hearty staple that sustained early Americans through long winters and hard workdays. Johnnycake dates back to the 17th century, introduced to New England and the Mid-Atlantic by settlers who adapted Native American cornmeal recipes. Corn was abundant and easy to store, making it an essential ingredient in a time before refrigeration. Originally, johnnycakes were just water, cornmeal, and salt, cooked over open flames or in iron pans. Over the centuries, some recipes incorporated milk, eggs, or sugar, turning them into a slightly richer breakfast option. Johnnycake became a symbol of colonial ingenuity, simple, filling, and adaptable to whatever ingredients were available. Johnnycake's popularity endured for generations because it was inexpensive, nourishing, and versatile. It could be eaten for breakfast with butter or maple syrup, served alongside soups and stews, or used as a quick snack for travelers and farmers. Families passed down their recipes, with subtle regional variations reflecting local tastes. For early Americans, johnnycake was more than food. It was survival, comfort, and a culinary link to the land. Today, johnnycake has nearly vanished from modern breakfast tables, replaced by pancakes, waffles, and cereal. Yet for those who remember it, each bite evokes the scent of a colonial kitchen, the warmth of hearth-cooked bread, and the enduring resourcefulness of America's earliest cooks. It's a humble dish, but one that carries centuries of history in every golden slice. From the simple, rustic breakfasts of early America, we move to the opulent dining rooms of the Mid-Atlantic, where a soup designed to mimic the expensive delicacy of turtle meat once captivated high society: mock turtle soup. 8. Mock turtle soup, Mid-Atlantic and Victorian America. Imagine a steaming bowl of rich, savory soup, crafted to replicate the taste of a delicacy few could afford, tender, flavorful, and surprisingly comforting. This is mock turtle soup, a Victorian-era invention that allowed Americans to savor luxury on a budget. Mock turtle soup emerged in the 18th and 19th centuries as a clever substitute for true turtle soup, which was considered a high-end dish in Europe and the American colonies. Wealthy households served turtle soup as a symbol of sophistication, but it was expensive and difficult to source. Enter the ingenious cooks of the Mid-Atlantic. Using calf's head, sometimes combined with veal, rich stock, and aromatic vegetables, they replicated the texture and flavor of turtle meat. Spices, sherry, and occasionally hard-boiled eggs added complexity. The soup became a staple in middle-class homes and appeared in Victorian cookbooks across the United States. Mock turtle soup offered Americans a taste of elegance without the prohibitive cost. It was served at dinner parties, holiday meals, and even in taverns catering to those craving refinement. Beyond flavor, it reflected creativity and resourcefulness, showing how cooks could transform humble ingredients into something perceived as luxurious. Its popularity endured because it allowed families to emulate elite dining traditions, creating a sense of aspiration and culinary sophistication. Despite its past prominence, mock turtle soup has almost vanished from American tables. Few modern diners have experienced the slightly gelatinous, deeply flavored soup that once defined refined comfort. It's a dish that straddles ingenuity and indulgence, a culinary bridge to an era when resourcefulness and elegance could coexist in a single bowl. To taste it today is to step back into a world of Victorian charm and forgotten flavors. From the refined tables of the Victorian era, we journey to southern kitchens, where a simple sauce made from ham drippings and coffee once became a breakfast staple: red-eye gravy. 9. Red-eye gravy, Southern U.S. Picture a steaming plate of country ham, smothered in a thin, dark sauce with a bittersweet kick. It's red-eye gravy, a humble Southern creation that turns leftover coffee and ham drippings into a breakfast tradition unlike any other. Red-eye gravy originated in the southern United States during the 19th century, particularly in rural communities where coffee was a morning ritual and nothing went to waste. After frying ham, cooks would deglaze the pan with black coffee, scraping up the flavorful browned bits to create a thin, dark gravy. The result was salty, slightly bitter, and aromatic, a perfect complement to fried eggs, biscuits, or grits. Its name likely comes from the reddish color that appeared when coffee was mixed with the ham drippings. For generations, this simple sauce became a quintessential part of Southern breakfasts. Red-eye gravy endured because it was economical, easy to make, and bursting with flavor. It turned leftover ham into something new, demonstrating the ingenuity of Southern cooks who could transform humble ingredients into culinary staples. Beyond taste, it was a comfort food, a signal of home, early mornings, and shared family meals, especially in agrarian communities where hearty breakfasts were essential for a long day of work. Yet today, red-eye gravy is rarely seen outside Southern kitchens. Many younger Americans have never tasted its unique bitter-salty punch, and even some Southerners opt for modern gravies instead. It's a simple dish, but one steeped in history, a reminder that the most unassuming ingredients can carry the deepest nostalgia, connecting us to generations who ate with ingenuity and heart. From the savory breakfasts of the South, we travel back to Pennsylvania Dutch country to rediscover a sweet, molasses-rich pie with a crumbly top that has charmed families for centuries: shoofly pie. 10. Shoofly pie, Pennsylvania Dutch country. Imagine a sweet, sticky pie filled with molasses and topped with a golden, crumbly layer, a dessert so simple yet so comforting that it once defined Pennsylvania Dutch kitchens. This is shoofly pie, a forgotten gem that has sweetened breakfasts and gatherings for generations. Shoofly pie dates back to the 19th century among Pennsylvania Dutch communities. Named for the method of shooing flies away while the pie cooled, it was originally a practical dessert made with pantry staples like molasses, flour, and a bit of butter. The filling could be either wet or dry, depending on family preference, and the pie was often enjoyed as a breakfast treat rather than just a dessert. This humble pie reflected both frugality and ingenuity, turning inexpensive ingredients into a sweet, flavorful delight. Shoofly pie became a household favorite because it was easy to make, satisfying, and versatile. Farmers' families appreciated it as a breakfast accompaniment with coffee, while its rich molasses flavor provided much-needed energy for long workdays. Over time, the pie became a symbol of community, often appearing at fairs, church socials, and family gatherings, reinforcing traditions and regional identity. Yet, despite its history and nostalgic charm, shoofly pie has largely slipped from the modern culinary landscape. Outside Pennsylvania Dutch communities, few people have tasted this molasses-rich treasure, and its crumbly, sticky sweetness is often replaced by modern desserts. It's a dish that embodies simplicity, resourcefulness, and a connection to home, a forgotten flavor that whispers stories of kitchens long past. From the sweet, comforting pies of Pennsylvania, we head to the Connecticut coastline, where locals once savored a savory creation brimming with fresh clams, baked into a hearty and unexpected dish: clam pie, or pie à la mode de New Haven. 11. Clam pie/pie à la mode de New Haven, Connecticut. Imagine a golden, flaky crust enveloping tender clams, onions, and spices, a savory pie that once delighted coastal communities, yet today has nearly vanished from the American culinary map. This is clam pie, also known as pie à la mode de New Haven. Clam pie emerged in Connecticut's coastal towns during the 19th century, a time when seafood was abundant and communities relied on local harvests. The dish was inspired by English savory pies but adapted to showcase fresh, local ingredients like clams, onions, and sometimes potatoes. Baked in deep dish or pie crusts, these pies were served at taverns, family dinners, and seafood festivals, offering a hearty and portable meal for working fishermen and townsfolk alike. The pie reflected both resourcefulness and regional pride, turning simple clams into a satisfying centerpiece. Clam pie was cherished for its convenience, flavor, and connection to the coast. It was easy to transport, could feed multiple people, and brought a taste of the sea to inland communities. Its popularity also lay in its novelty. Seafood pies were a unique treat compared to the more common meat or vegetable pies of the era. For locals, it was a symbol of regional identity, a culinary tradition that celebrated the bounty of New England waters. Today, clam pie is almost entirely forgotten outside small coastal enclaves. Modern diners rarely encounter it, and many recipes exist only in old cookbooks or family memory. It's a dish that embodies both ingenuity and history, a reminder of how Americans once celebrated local ingredients with creativity and care, a taste of the past waiting to be rediscovered. From the coastal waters of Connecticut, we journey southward to the heart of the American South, where a baked, cheesy dish turned humble grits into a community centerpiece. Grits casserole. 12 grits casserole, Southern U.S. Imagine a warm, golden casserole bubbling with creamy grits, melted cheese, and sometimes eggs, a comforting dish that once filled Southern tables during Sunday breakfasts and community gatherings. This is grits casserole, a regional specialty that transformed a humble grain into a celebratory centerpiece. Grits have been a staple of Southern cuisine since the 18th century, originating from Native American corn preparations. By the early 20th century, home cooks in the South began experimenting with baked variations, combining grits with eggs, cheese, milk, and occasionally vegetables or meats. Grits casserole became a popular dish for potlucks, church socials, and holiday meals, offering a hearty, economical way to feed large groups. Its versatility made it ideal for both everyday dinners and special occasions. The casserole's popularity stemmed from its comfort and convenience. It was filling, flavorful, and adaptable, capable of serving a family or a community with minimal fuss. Beyond taste, grits casserole represented Southern hospitality, a dish that welcomed neighbors, friends, and family to the table. Each family often had its own twist, making the casserole a living tradition passed down through generations. Yet today, grits casserole is largely confined to regional cookbooks and family traditions. Many younger generations have never encountered this cheesy, creamy classic outside of memories or rare gatherings. It's a dish that embodies both nostalgia and ingenuity, a reminder that comfort food can carry culture, history, and community all in one golden, bubbling pan. From the cheesy casseroles of the South, we travel north to New England once more, where a dense, molasses-rich bread steamed in cans became a humble but enduring staple for working-class families. Boston brown bread. 13. Boston brown bread, New England. Imagine a dense, dark loaf, sweetened with molasses, lightly spiced, and steamed in a can, soft, slightly crumbly, and deeply comforting. This is Boston brown bread, a humble staple that once warmed the tables of New England families for generations. Boston brown bread dates back to the 19th century, emerging in an era when molasses was a common sweetener in New England kitchens. Unlike oven-baked bread, it was traditionally steamed in a can or cloth, producing a moist, slightly sticky texture that set it apart from other loaves. Often served alongside baked beans or butter for breakfast, this bread became a symbol of practicality and frugality for working-class families, offering sustenance that was simple, flavorful, and easy to make in large quantities. Boston brown bread's popularity endured because it was affordable, long-lasting, and versatile. Farmers, laborers, and city workers alike appreciated its hearty texture and subtle sweetness. It wasn't just food, it was a companion to daily life, appearing at school lunches, church suppers, and family breakfasts. Its connection to molasses and local grains also made it a distinctly regional tradition, a taste of New England heritage passed from generation to generation. Yet, in modern kitchens, Boston brown bread has almost disappeared. Most younger Americans have never seen a can of this steamed loaf, let alone tasted its rich, comforting flavor. What was once an everyday staple is now a relic of culinary history, a sweet reminder of a time when simple ingredients and patient preparation created food that nourished both body and soul. From the steamed loaves of New England, we travel to a surprising indulgence that blurred the line between dessert and sandwich in Southern and Midwestern kitchens, the legendary Luther Burger. The Luther Burger, Southern and Midwestern U.S. Imagine biting into a juicy hamburger, only to realize the bun has been replaced by two sweet, glazed donuts, an outrageous, indulgent creation that once turned heads in Southern and Midwestern diners. This is the Luther Burger, a dessert-meets-dinner novelty that lives on in culinary legend. The Luther Burger is said to be named after R&B singer Luther Vandross, though the exact origin is debated. It emerged in the late 20th century, gaining popularity in regional fairs, diners, and novelty burger joints. The concept was simple yet daring. Replace the classic hamburger bun with two soft, glazed donuts. Cheeseburgers, bacon, or even fried onions were often added, creating a rich, sweet-savory explosion. While it was never intended as a mainstream dish, it captured the imagination of thrill-seeking eaters, embodying indulgence and American creativity in comfort food. Its appeal was largely about spectacle and fun. People were drawn to the absurdity and sheer decadence of the dish, sharing photos, stories, and memories with friends and family. The Luther Burger also reflected a larger trend in American cuisine toward bold, larger-than-life indulgences, food as entertainment as well as nourishment. For those who tried it, the combination of sweet and savory was unforgettable. Today, the Luther Burger is mostly a novelty, rarely found outside regional fairs or specialty restaurants. Yet its story highlights the playful, experimental side of American culinary culture. A dish that once shocked and delighted diners now lives as a quirky memory, a sweet reminder that American kitchens have always been a place of creativity, indulgence, and occasional rebellion. From the outrageous indulgence of the Luther Burger, we turn to the Upper Midwest, where Native American influence shaped a dish that combined earthy flavors, seasonal produce, and timeless tradition: wild rice stuffed squash. 15. Wild rice stuffed squash, Upper Midwest/Native American influence. Picture a roasted, golden squash filled with tender wild rice, vegetables, and occasionally savory meat. A dish that is as visually stunning as it is flavorful. This is wild rice stuffed squash, a forgotten culinary tradition shaped by Native American ingenuity and Midwestern harvests. Wild rice stuffed squash has roots in the Upper Midwest, particularly among Native American communities who cultivated and harvested wild rice for centuries. Squash, another staple of the region, provided a natural vessel for the rice and seasonal vegetables. Over time, European settlers adapted the dish, adding meats, herbs, and spices to create a hearty, baked entree perfect for communal meals and festive occasions. It became a symbol of harvest celebrations and Thanksgiving gatherings in the region, connecting families to both the land and culinary heritage. The dish was cherished for its versatility, nutrition, and visual appeal. It showcased local ingredients, celebrated seasonal abundance, and could feed large families or groups with minimal waste. Beyond sustenance, it carried cultural significance, honoring Native American traditions while bridging regional and settler culinary practices. Each bite told a story of survival, community, and the rhythms of Midwestern life. Yet today, wild rice stuffed squash is rarely seen outside holiday tables in parts of the Midwest. Many Americans have never encountered its nutty, earthy flavors or appreciated the careful combination of ingredients that made it both hearty and elegant. It's a dish that embodies history on a plate, a taste of ingenuity, tradition, and seasonal celebration fading quietly from memory. From the harvest tables of the Midwest, we come full circle, having journeyed across America to rediscover the forgotten flavors, bold inventions, and nostalgic dishes that once defined regional kitchens. As we've traveled across the United States, from the cozy kitchens of New England to the sun-soaked fields of the South, the bustling diners of Ohio, and the harvest tables of the Midwest, we've rediscovered 15 forgotten regional foods, each with its own story, flavor, and piece of history. These dishes remind us that food is more than nourishment. It is memory, culture, and community. From the humble raisin pie to the bold Luther burger, every bite we imagine today carries echoes of the people, traditions, and ingenuity that shaped America's culinary past. Many of these foods have faded from our tables, replaced by convenience, mass production, or changing tastes. Yet their stories endure, offering a window into a time when cooking was inventive, meals were shared, and every ingredient had meaning. By remembering these forgotten flavors, we honor the creativity and resilience of past generations, and perhaps even inspire ourselves to revive a taste of history in our own kitchens. If you've enjoyed this journey through America's lost culinary treasures, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more nostalgic explorations, and share your favorite forgotten foods in the comments below. Who knows, which one of these forgotten dishes might make a comeback in your own kitchen? Thank you for joining us on this flavorful journey through time. Until next time, keep savoring the tastes, stories, and memories that make the world tapestry so unforgettable.